Today's shir is about making an early Shabbos. The husband and wife have to be on the same page. The husband wants an early Shabbos, or the wife wants an early Shabbos, and the other one doesn't agree. Do they both have to what? Give in to the other. But before we speak about that, we're just coming out of Pesach. So we can speak a little bit about Pesach. No, Yosef? It's just Pesach, right? Torah says in Parashas Bo, Ushmartem et hamatzot. You shall guard the matzot. It's not on your paper. So what do you mean guard the matzot? No one should steal them? 100 shekels a kilo? So Rashi quotes Chazal, Ushmartem et hamatzot. The word matzot, in the Torah scroll, there's no dots, could be read, Ushmartem et hamitzvot. You should guard the mitzvot. The word matzot and mitzvot are spelled the same way. You would have no dots. So guard the mitzvot. What does that mean, says Rashi, Parashas Bo? Mitzvah shabol yotchal tachnitzeno. If a mitzvah comes to your hand, what? Don't let it get what? Chometz. Go for it right away. Guard the mitzvahs. Don't let the mitzvah become chometz. Don't delay a mitzvah. Don't put it off. Reminds me of a story. A few days before Pesach, a little shtetl in Poland, and Yankel the beggar, he had one pair of pants that were all in tatters. And the Pesach is coming up, and how's he going to go to shul in torn, ripped pants full of holes, a beggar? So he has a friend, Muttel, remember Mutton Jeff? Yankel was very short, and his friend Muttel was very tall. He says, listen, I'll give you a pair of my pants. The problem is that Muttel was what? Very tall. And Yankel was very short, okay? So he gave him this pair of pants a few days before Pesach. But again, he's short, and his friend who gave him the gift is very tall. So he asked his wife, do me a favor. The only new pair of pants that I have, Yom Tov is coming up. Can you make it shorter a few inches? I'll have it for Pesach. She said, I can't. It's Erev Pesach. You have to scrounge around to find our food. I have no time. So he goes to his older daughter. He says, Chava, please, you know, my pants are torn, and Muttel gave me his pair of pants. He's much taller than I am. Please adjust it, cut a few inches. So the older daughter says, Abba, I'm sorry. It's a few days before Pesach. I can't do it. You know, we hardly have enough food to eat. I have to go scrounging around for the meals. I have no time. So he goes to his younger daughter. Her name is what? Hudel. He says, Hudel, please, you know, look at my pair of pants, shredded. Pesach is around the corner. My big friend Muttel gave me a pair of pants, but they're too big. Do me a favor, cut a few inches. Sorry, Abba, I can't. A few days before Pesach, you know our matzav, I can't do it. So he goes to bed broken-hearted. Muttel, the beggar, he won't have a pair of pants for Pesach because he can't wear it. His pants are shredded, and his friend who gave him is much taller than him. So he goes to sleep with a broken heart. In the middle of the night, the wife is having, Zisel, you have this, she's having, what's it called? Guilt pangs. My husband, he begged me so nicely to make the pants for him, and I turned them down. Kubit Baal, you know, respect for my husband. So in the middle of the night, she gets up, and what? Without telling him, she shortens the pants. A few hours later, in the middle of the night, Chava, the daughter, said, oh, how could I be so mean to my Abba? He begged me to make the pants shorter. I disappointed. Where's my kibbut avein? So she gets up and also makes the pants a little bit shorter. A few hours later, the younger daughter, Chudel, can't sleep either. Also guilty conscience. How could I break my Abba's heart? I only have one father. How's he going to go to shul with his ripped pair of pants? So in the middle of the night, she also sneaks in and what? And what? It makes the pants another few inches shorter. Muttel gets up in the morning and he puts on the pants and they're shorts. What's the message of the story? A mitzvah comes to your hand, do it right away. Don't delay it, push it off, otherwise you'll wind up with what? With shorts. Powerful message. Shmartem et hamatzot. Talmud says et hamitzvot, right? Don't delay, go for it right away. But today our topic is about what? Early Shabbos. A lot of people want to make an early Shabbos, but the husband might not be ready, the wife might not be ready. Do they have to what? make an early Shabbos together, or can each spouse, Yehuda, a good topic for your kala, each spouse can do their own thing? What?
What's going to happen? This is going to be crap.
What? What's going to happen? Early Shabbos, late Shabbos, right? But before we get to that, we have to, Manishtana is still in our ears, right? Manishtana, Hadlokat Eish, Bishal Lametet Malochot. You know, there are 39 categories of work you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. 38 of them are found where? In the Mishnah Masechta Shabbos, the oral Torah. Only one of them, of the Amalachas, is found where? In the written Torah. Lo tovaru eish b'chol moshvotechem b'yom HaShabbat. Why is like my fire the only Av Malacha that's singled out in the written Torah, unlike the other 38 Av Malachas that are found where? In the Mishnah. Writing, right? And painting, and coloring, right? All those other Av Malachas are not found in the written Torah. Where they're found in the Mishnah Sechta Shabbos. Madua v'lama manishtana, lighting a fire, that's the only one of the 39 forbidden categories of work that is found where? In the written Torah. Why is that different? So what's the answer? Why is that singled out? You can't write either, right? So the answer is, what bracha do you make b'havdalah? You make a bracha borem oro eish, right? We thank God for creating what? Fire, because we couldn't light a fire for 25 hours or 26 hours. So after Shabbos, we make a bracha borem oro eish, thanking God that now we can have fire. You couldn't write either. Why don't you make a bracha borem michtav? Could you write for 26 hours? Or 25 and a half hours? Couldn't write either. So why don't you make a bracha borem michtav? Now I can write, and now I can color. Now I can paint, which I couldn't do. Why dafke borem oro eish on Motzei Shabbos? Because if you think about it, the key to the entire creation process is contained in what? Fire and heat. Only when you create heat, then you make science and technology possible. Without heat, without fire, there's no science and there's no high tech. On Shabbos, Hashem commands us to return the key of creation back to Him. Ashabar Elokim, we make in the Chilul Shemaim words that God created Lasot. What does Lasot mean? The unfinished physical creation process, we have to finish when, Rabbi Yaakov? During the 6 days. We have to complete it. But on Shabbat, the Torah says, time out. Remember the Shabbos, that we are God's junior partners. God says, return the key of creation to me on Shabbos. What's the key of creation? Rabbi Yaakov, it's fire and heat. Without fire and heat, there's no high-tech, low-tech technology, science. So, Shabbos reminds us that we are God's junior partners in creation. That God, one second, God is the major partner. On Shabbos, we must focus on rejuvenating our godly soul. We say, Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat. What does that mean? How do you make Shabbos? Doesn't Shabbos come in Zisel automatically? What he's saying, Parashat Kisisa, the Jewish people should observe Shabbos to make the Shabbos. How do you make the Shabbos? Lasot ha-Shabbos. Shabbos comes in automatically. But we must utilize the Shabbat to grow spiritually, to recreate ourselves spiritually. Shabbat does no physical creation. That we hand back to God, the key, which is symbolized by what? Like my fire. Right? But Shabbos is all about our spiritual creation. Wow. So Shabbos, we have to climb the soul ladder. So during the 6 days of the week, we are God's partner in physical creation. But on Shabbat, God says, hand the key of creation back to me. The physical key, symbolized by fire. Shabbos is all about recreating ourselves, what? Not physically, that's time out. Spiritually. Neshama Yetera. Yes, Yehuda.
Isn't this the best argument to say that even if there's not civilization does for heat with electricity, that we shouldn't be using electricity because electricity allows us to be creative?
Yeah, but if you put it up, but that's the Karaites. We're not Karaites, right? If you leave it on before Shabbos, I didn't do anything on Shabbos.
No, I'm not saying doing that, but actually, why, the kids say using the cell phone doesn't break the rule for heat like they do at that place. So electricity allows us to be creative, which is why you can't do selection. You can put it on beforehand, not talking about a timer, using electricity on fresh way, using the cell phones and using...
You're not allowed to do that. You can leave it on from before Shabbos, right? Or put it on a timer. But on Shabbos, you cannot do any of that physical creation.
Because it's creative
You
work.
created before, right, because creative work, right?
You're pressing a new button or turning something
Nachon,
doing something.
right? The Karaites, they shot in the dark, right, Zisel? Thank God we're not Karaites, right? You can leave it on from before. So let's get to side number 1 on our paper now. Early Shabbos, right? An early Shabbos.
I have one for you, Rabbi.
I have a question. Go ahead. Your turn. You go first. Go ahead.
I have a device in my apartment that all I have to do is say the word, and it could turn on music.
Yehuda Lev asked me that question a few months ago.
But I'm thinking, even better, that's what's going to get to the point where you won't have to say it. You say something that's action, but soon they're going to have the thing where you'll just think it.
You just think it. So what work are you doing, man?
Then it's not an action.
Speaking is an action.
Speaking is an action. It doesn't work.
How do I speaking is an action? If you curse somebody, you're over allowed. If you curse somebody, right? So speaking is an action. But if you just think it, that I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I have a shaila for you. Look at source number 1. You have that, Zisel? Source number 1? The Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim. Early Shabbos, late Shabbos. Source number 1, Shulchan Aruch. Afa pi shelo ispalu hakol adayin. Even though the congregation didn't daven yet on the Erev Shabbos, im kodam yochav despalo so Shabbos about Yom. If an individual davened, he accepted Shabbos during the daytime, even though the congregation didn't, chal olaf kabbalat Shabbos. He personally can accept Shabbos upon himself early, source number 1, even if the congregation, let's say there's 1 million in town, even the congregation did not daven yet, Kabbalah Shabbos, he did it on his own. As far as he's concerned, Shabbos kicks in, v'osar b'asiyas malacha, and he cannot do malacha, even though if he says, I don't want to accept Shabbos, if he davened the Shabbos Shmon Esrei, Friday afternoon early, and even though the congregation didn't daven yet, as far as he's concerned, Shabbos is what, David? Kicked in. You would mind giving me a cup of water? Thank you so much. Even Shabbos kicked in for him, and he can't do malacha. Okay?
What's the earliest time?
What's the earliest time?
And can you...
You could maybe Kabbalah Shabbos, I think an hour before. An hour before.
But can you make up your mind about an hour or a half an hour?
What?
Can you vary it? Like...
Yes, you can take Shabbos early. The max is an hour before, but not more than that. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. An hour before.
And
once you accepted it, you're stuck.
All right, and once a rabbi asked me to bring his towels across the street because he forgot to bring it.
He accepted Shabbos, you didn't. Beautiful. Stay tuned. That is coming up in source number 3. Don't rush me. We're still in source number 1, right, David? So, I have a question for you. A guy was Mekabel Shabbos early. Yiddish? Still daylight. He remembered he didn't put on tefillin that morning. Yosef, you had a question? But it's still daylight. But he was Mekabel Shabbos early, davening with the first minyan. He remembered, gee, I didn't put on tefillin this morning. So for him, it's what? It's Shabbos. Are you allowed to put on tefillin on Shabbos? No. You hear he's stuck, David. He was Mekabel Shabbos early. It's still daylight. So as long as it's still daylight, you're allowed to put on tefillin. But he can't put on tefillin because why? He took Shabbos early. So what's the halacha? Rabbi Yosef deals with this. He says, taking Shabbos early, let's say a guy takes Shabbos early and he does malacha. Would he be chayav skila or karet? If he takes in Shabbos before the sun goes down and he does malacha, is he chayav bin HaTorah, Zisel? It's really not Shabbos yet. For him it's Shabbos. But the facts are it's not Shabbos yet. If he does malacha, it's only Shabbos d'Rabbanan. Here's the question, Yehuda. A guy takes Shabbos early. He does malacha. Is he chayav karet? Because only Rabbanan, because the fact is it's not Shabbos yet. He took Shabbos early. So he make believe Shabbos, so it's a rabbinic injunction he took upon himself. So if he does malacha before the sun goes down, David, he would not be chayav skila min HaTorah. So Rabbi Yosef paskins, since taking Shabbos early is only the Rabbanan, putting on tefillin is what? A mitzvah in the Torah. So therefore, as long as it's still daylight, he is obligated to put on tefillin. Rabbi Yosef has this shaila. Guy took Shabbos early, remember, didn't put on tefillin yet. Taking Shabbos early is a rabbinic idea. In our Torah, it's not Shabbos yet till the sun goes down. Putting on tefillin is what? A deraisa. So Rabbi Yosef paskins, you took on Shabbos early, you didn't put on tefillin, you're obligated to put on tefillin as long as it's still what? Daylight. Once it's night, you can't put on tefillin. Shabbos, you're not allowed to put on tefillin. But it's really not Shabbos. For him, it's Shabbos only on a rabbinic level. In our Torah, it's really not Shabbos till the sun goes down. So therefore, if you didn't put on tefillin, he's obligated to put on tefillin if it's still daylight on Friday, yes?
Wait, how can you take on Shabbos? You can't light candles on daylight.
An hour you can, an hour before you can.
You're lighting it early.
Right? You could take that's the whole point.
You can't do it later. You can't light candles later.
You could take in Shabbos an hour early before the time. Not more than an hour early. But an hour early, the sun is still out there. Remember, didn't put on tefillin yet. So taking Shabbos early is the Rabbanan, putting on tefillin is the Raisa. So therefore, as long as it's still daylight, he should what? He should go and put on tefillin. Okay? So, let's take a look at what, we're up to source number 1 still. See the second paragraph, Yehuda? Source number 1. Imrov HaKol Kiblu Aleim Shabbat. There's one shul in town, Yosef. Remember one horse town? One shul town. Zisel, remember that? See, source number 1, second paragraph. Imrov HaKol Kiblu Aleim Shabbos. There's one shul in the town. And they took Shabbos what? Early. Hamiyut nimshochem achreim al karcham. The minority who didn't want to take in Shabbos early, the majority, there's only one shul. There's another shul, fine, go to that shul. But the one shul in town, the majority, they took Shabbos early. The minority, they have to follow and they have to accept Shabbos early even though they don't want to if it's a one shul town. You hear? What?
What happens if there a problem? If there's the one shul, but the shul has both an early minion and a regular minion?
No, I'm not talking about that. You can down with the later minion. We're talking there's one shul, and that shul only has an early minion. And there ain't no other shul in town. You are obligated to go after them. Of course, if they have a second minion, it's not a problem. But we're talking if there's only one minion, you have to follow the majority and you're stuck. And the Shabbos is for you, even though the sun is still shining. Get it? Now, look at source number 2, Yehuda. See, look at source number 2. In B'yayim Hamunan. Source number 2, they, you know, when the Shulchan Aruch was written, they had no watches. When were watches invented, David? When was the wristwatch invented, David, or the clock?
At least 500 years.
The Shulchan Aruch was written in 1560. I don't think that 1560 had clocks.
They had
1560. Look at source number 2. Shulchan Aruch Arechaim. Have it, Yehuda. In B'yayim Hamunan. It's a cloudy Friday. Goes to important. Look inside. A cloudy Friday afternoon. To'ot Tzibur. V'choshen Shachshecha. The congregation made a mistake, and they thought it's already what? Dark. Because it's a very cloudy day, and they thought that the sun had already set on Friday. Vidliku Nerot, and they lit candles, the Spalas, Tfilat Arvis, and they davened Shmonesra Shabbos, And then they come out of shul, they already think it's sundown. Nispazru ha'avim, what happens? The clouds dissipate. It's a miracle. And the sun is shining. And these guys are already what? Makabel Shabbos. Ein tzorech lachzor spaler arvit. They don't have to daven Shemona Esrei again. You hear this? For them it's Shabbos. They don't have to daven Shemona Esrei again. If it's mit plaga mincha v'lamala.
If it was the least plague.
A lik plag, that's an hour before the real time. V'im yochid, that's a congregation. They don't have to daven again. Shabbos for them. Im yochid ta, let's say an individual, as a cloudy day, and he thought that it's really sundown and it wasn't. He made a mistake, an individual. The individual does have to what? Daven Shemona Esrei Friday night again. Now, v'le'inyan asiyas malacha, bein tzibur, bein yochid mitorim, guys took Shabbos early by mistake. It was a very cloudy day. They thought the sun set, and then they see, what? The sun comes out. What about doing malacha? Bein b'tzibur, bein b'yochid mitorim. They can do malacha. The Kabbalah Shabbos b'to'ut. Because, how do you say that in English, David? Kabbalah Shabbos b'to'ut. It was a mistake. They took Shabbos early by mistake. Therefore, even though they don't have to daven again, but they're allowed to do malacha, because the whole taking Shabbos early for them was a mistake. The Yeshayim Sha'osam Shalikin Neirosh, and the Shulchan Aruch says, some say, if the women had already lit candles on their mistake, they cannot do malacha no more. Even though it was a mistaken idea, if they lit candles early, they're stuck. For them, it's Shabbos. The Sharan Shabbat, but the rest of the family members who didn't light the candles, the lady who lit the candles, she's stuck. For her, it's what? Shabbos. And the other people in the household, for them, it's mutter. Okay? Now we get to, what is your name, sir?
Yaakov.
Yaakov, source number 3. Show this to your rabbi. Please take the paper with you. Source number 3. You see that? Your case, Yehuda. Can you be a Shabbos goy for a yid that took Shabbos early? David, can you be a Shabbos goy for a yid that took Shabbos early?
No, it's not Shabbos for you.
Source number 3. You with me or against me? Just say when.
When?
Yes, Shemi shekibel Yaakov. You have it? Mi shekibel all of Shabbos koydem shachashecha. Someone took Shabbos early, right before it got dark. He had a minyan. There were other minyans in town, but he davened with the first minyan, and he accepted Shabbos early before it got dark. And he has a neighbor across the hall who's going to take Shabbos later. And he remembered that, what? Oh, I forgot to turn off the stove. Or the ambati, what's it called? That switch. It might blow up. The boiler? What's it called? You know.
I would turn it off. If I thought it was going to blow up.
Not allowed to. You took Shabbos. You can't do it. Muta loymel Yisrael chaveiroi. You can tell your neighbor across the hall who didn't take Shabbos early, lasas loy malacha. To what? Please turn off my gas range. Please turn off the boiler.
But that is...
It's a Shabbos goy. You could be a Shabbos goy for a yid that took Shabbos early. Did you know that, Rabbi Yaakov? Yes?
I always wanted to be a Shabbos boy, Rabbi.
See that?
If a woman lights candles, say, 20 minutes or 25 minutes before her husband.
You're ahead of me. That's source number 4. What is your name? Gloria, please don't rush me. That's source number 4. Okay? You guys are ahead of me today. They're ahead of me. Rough crowd. I want to get into that. If the Kuch Nefesh, you can be Mechala Shabbos, but not really Mekuch Nefesh. So you cannot turn off the oven or whatever. Not the Kuch Nefesh, of course, you can do any malacha except 3. And transgress the entire Torah for saving a life except 3 sins. It's not Pekuach Nefesh, just a monetary damage, you're not allowed to do it. But you can tell your neighbor who didn't accept Shabbos early, it's really not Shabbos yet, you can tell your neighbor to do malacha. Source number 3, and then we'll get to Gloria's question soon. Source number 3, Haggah, umuta lenos ma'oisai malacha b'Shabbos. You For you it's Shabbos already. Your neighbor didn't accept Shabbos. He did malacha for you. You are allowed to enjoy the benefit of the malacha that he did for you, even though for you it's what? Shabbos. Isn't that amazing? You can do... So open halacha source number 3. You can tell your friend to do malacha for you. You can be a Shabbos goy for a yid that took early Shabbos, and you can enjoy the benefit of that malacha even though you already accepted Shabbos early. Okay. Now we're going to deal with a glorious question in source number 4. Okay. Mogen Avram, source number 4. Muta Laimar. A person is a muta to say in source number 4. He's allowed to say, he says that I don't want to accept Shabbos yet. It's not time yet. So what does that mean? So the question is as follows. Actually, it's what? So I think glorious question was as follows. A lady, when she lights candles in Jerusalem 40 minutes before the Zman, right? Even if you don't take in Shabbos early, the rest of the country, you light, it's 20 minutes before sundown. In Jerusalem, you light what? 40 minutes.
That's an extra 18 minutes.
Okay. So a lady lit candles. So for her, it's Shabbos, right? The rest of the family didn't light candles. They still got 40 minutes in Jerusalem. The rest of the country, they got 20 minutes. But let's say they want to take a taxi to the Kotel. Right, Gloria? But how could she take a taxi to the Kotel? She lit the candles. She took Shabbos. So Rabbi Moshe Feinstein Zatzal deals with this question. He says as follows. Normally a woman who lights the candles, Shabbos falls on her. Even though the husband and the kids, it's not Shabbos yet, they still got 20 to 40 minutes. Normally if a woman lights candles, it's Shabbos. But if she makes a verbal declaration, when she lights the candles, if she verbalizes, I'm lighting the candles, but I do not want to accept Shabbos yet because I want to take a taxi to the Kotel, then what? She can take the taxi. If she doesn't say anything, Shabbos comes in on her when she lights the candles. But if she makes a verbal statement before she lights the candles, even though I'm lighting the candles, I do not want to accept Shabbos, I still got 20 to 40 minutes.
She says the bracha.
She makes the bracha. But before she makes the bracha, she makes a verbal statement. The halacha is that she can take a taxi to the Kotel because she still has the 20 to 40 minutes. If she doesn't make the verbal statement before she lights the bracha, then she's stuck. The husband and the kids can take a taxi, she can't. But if she makes the verbal statement that she's not accepting Shabbos even though she's benching Lech, she can join them in the taxi. So it's important. Okay?
If it's the Kotel, it's got to be Jerusalem. So doesn't she have 40 minutes?
What? If she doesn't say anything, she's stuck.
If she says it.
If she said, she still has 40 minutes.
And what
She's not going to take the Kotel unless she goes to Jerusalem. If she's going to the Kotel, she has to go to Jerusalem.
Well, let's say not the Kotel. She wants to take a taxi to visit her friend somewhere. She could say that. I'm lighting Shabbos. I know I have 20 to 40 minutes. Ashkelon is 20 minutes, here is 40. If she makes a statement, then she can still do malacha. It doesn't have to be to the Kotel. As long as she verbalizes that the act of lighting, even though normally it makes me a Shabbos, but I'm making this exception, I'm verbalizing that Yotzer in a cloud. If I don't say anything, it's Shabbos for me. If I make the statement before I light, she still has that 20 to 40 minutes, like the rest of the family has automatically, yes?
No, I remember lived in faraway cities. I used to live someplace, and it was in Yom Kippur, and the shul was far. So you could light candles, and then drive to shul.
Right, but the lady has to make the statement.
But I still don't understand. It's like, landing down to Shabbat, for Yom Kippur. God, I'm going to drive to shul. It doesn't like...
No, first you say, I'm about to light the Yom Kippur candles, but I'm not accepting a Kippur on it. I still have 20 minutes, right? Jerusalem, you have 40 minutes. The rest of the world, you have 20 minutes.
Why is that?
18 to 20.
20 minutes early.
The Vilna Gaon, his Hasidim came here in 1804, I think. Midig Hagra, 40 minutes early.
They bring it
But-
in Shabbos 20 minutes earlier. So that's
Midig Hagra. But the Ravadia Yosef says that the Gra was an Ashkenazi. So the Sfardim, they only follow 20 minutes before. But all Ashkenazim follow the Vilna Gaon. There's a Minhag Yerushalayim 40 minutes early. Okay? The rest of the world is between 18 and 20 minutes early, before sundown. Okay? So the family members have those 18, 20 minutes. But she's stuck, the lady, unless she makes a verbal commitment, Zisel. I'm lighting the candles, but I want to join my family in the taxi. I still got 18 to 20 minutes.
But it's not funny. It's not like your neighbor. It's not like your neighbor. It's like you're doing the bracha yourself. It's like, but it doesn't.
It's still not. It's not Shabbos yet. You still got 20 minutes. You said the bracha, but you can take Shabbos early and make the exception. It's called a delayed reaction. How do you say in English? Delayed reaction?
Yeah.
Delayed.
It's like washing your hands now, say motzi, and it's like, oh, my picnic, I can't wash, I'm eating bread. You can't do that. You know what I mean? It's like
You're right, G. So let me tell you, Rav Moshe Feinstein, you heard of Rav Moshe Feinstein? You heard of him, right?
The car and the lady.
Right. He lived in the FDR Drive. You know FDR in the Lower East Side? Near Shmulka Bernstein. So what happened? One Motzei Shabbos, this old lady in his building called him up. An old lady, an almana. She said, Rebbe, I'm shocked. I lit my candles. I look out the window and I see you're going into a car and being driven to shul. Rebbe, you're Mechala Shabbos? I lit the candles. And 5 minutes later, I see you're climbing into a car with your Talmidim to drive you to shul. Rebbe, you're Mechala Shabbos. So he could have said to the lady, I'm the Gadol Ador. You can't come to my fingernail. Get lost. He immortalized her, David. He wrote up a tshuva about an Igros Moshe, this anonymous lady. He says to her, my dear lady, he explained to her that in New York you have 18 minutes. You lit the candles, but it's really, we still have 18 minutes. So I will still be 18 minutes to drive me to shul. 5 minutes away from his house to the MTJ shul. Right? But since it upsets you, I'm not going to do it anymore. You're this great tzaddik. You could have said, you're going to question me. Who are you? My dear lady, it's not a problem. We have 18 minutes. But since it upsets you, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'll have my Talmidim come before Lech Benchen. This great tzaddik. Okay? He said it's not Marasayan. He told her it's not Marasayan because everybody knows in New York you have 18 minutes after Lech Benching. But my dear lady, I don't want to upset you and I'm not going to do it anymore. You're the great tzaddik, David. That's the Gadol Hador, yes?
Yes, I want to ask you something. The second question that goes in my mind is when the woman lights 20, 25 minutes before say she wants to light and the husband is not Shabbos with him, and she forgets to close the oven. Can she say to her husband, oh, I forgot to close the oven? Can she do
Look
that?
at source number 5. Gloria, you must have ESP. Source number 5. I'm not kidding. Source number 5. This is the Igros Moshe, the great Moshe Feinstein. You see that, source 5? Hine keshehabal kabel olav Shabbos mibod yom. Here the other way around. Here the husband, he took Shabbos what? Early. And she, she is busy making the gefilte fish in the children. Ima isha nami yasur malach. The husband daven with the first minyan. He comes home from shul, right? And she is still putting around in the kitchen. Is the woman also asur malacha? The chayra pashut Yehuda? What's the next word? She'ena the grass. She does not have to follow him.
But here's the point, the $69 question. She's now supposed to one body follow. If he says to follow me,
let's work it through and then we'll talk. Let's learn the tshuva. The great Moshe says the husband took Shabbat. You to make a great point. Ishtai kegufa. Normally you say that a husband and wife are like what? One. But Moshe says not in all cases. If I eat, is my wife satisfied? Right? She also has to eat, right, David? Can I eat for my wife? She can't eat for me. Not in all cases. He says, Hine keshabal kibel olav Shabbos mod yom. The husband daven with the first minyan. Ima isha, is the woman also forbidden to do malacha? L'chayra pashud. What does pashud mean? obvious, she'eino negreas achos, she does not have to follow him. To gemo she'eino yochol achayva b'nedorim, just like he cannot make a neder for her, he cannot take an early Shabbos for her. She could take Shabbos later.
She's supposed to follow his midrash.
Look,
Right?
that's why I made these copies. I want you to impress your kala. Af ba'amar. Now listen to this. It goes even further. Great the Moshe Feinstein. Was he a woman's liber? Yehuda, you're not underlying the next word. Af ba'amar. Even if he says to her, this what does it say? Af ba'amar b'feirush. What? Second line. Af ba'amar b'feirush. Even though he says to her explicitly, sha'af hi ta'asav. He says, you must listen to me. Remember the honeymooners, David, the boss. I am king. You are what?
No.
You are peasant. Remember Ralph Cramden? Even though if he says to her, you see this, Rabbi Yaakov? Even he says beferish that you are not allowed to do a malacha. I took Shabbos early, you're stuck. Rabbi Moshe said it's not true. He cannot order her. Ukumo Cain, and just like that, Eino Yochol Asar Malacha. He cannot make her Asar to do Malacha, even though him it's Asar, but didn't touch the Shabbos. Just because he accepted Shabbos early, he can't do Malacha. He cannot force her, even if he tells her that you have to take Shabbos early, she can continue to do what? Malacha, until sundown, or 20 minutes before. Even though even if he says, Yehuda, I am being mekabel Shabbos early for me and for what? My wife. Einoi klum. What does that mean? He said nothing. And Moshe Feinstein, was he a women's liber?
Already know that.
Ralph Cramden wouldn't like this. The honeymooners. Even he says, I'm accepting Shabbos Yehuda for myself and my Bible. Einoi klum. He said nothing. Wow. Hear what he says. Source number 5. You can underline it. And the punchline here. Yeah. The last line, Yehuda. Mikol Makaim hu rak mekabel olav nesab din tosfot. It's not shaykh, even if he says meferish, in that I'm accepting Shabbos early for myself and for my better half. Einoi klum, what? He said nothing. Now, Gloria's question was, she accepted Shabbos by lighting the candle. She didn't make a statement that she doesn't want to accept Shabbos. So she is what? Shabbos. She can tell her husband, turn off the stove. You still have 20 to 40 minutes. Because that's what? That's on source what? Source number 3. See, source number 3. Mi shekibel olav Shabbos koiden chashefa, like a lady who lights the candles, or anybody who takes Shabbos 20 to 40 minutes early. Muta loymel Yisrael. You can tell, your husband is also Jewish, right? You can tell any Jew to do malacha for you. You don't have to look for Jose Jimenez. Remember Jose Jimenez? Or Muhammad Ali? You can tell any Jew, and your husband is also Jewish, to do malacha for you, because still he has 20 to 40 minutes, and you can benefit from what? From that malacha, not a problem. Not a problem.
Can I say directly, or do I have to say indirectly?
No, source number 3, Gloria. Mi shekibel olav Shabbos koiden shashecha. This is Shulchan Aruch or Rechayim. You have the source there. You accepted Shabbos early. Every lady, when she lights candles, she doesn't make a disqualifying statement. She accepts Shabbos early, before dark, either 20 to 40 minutes. Muta loymel Yisrael. She can tell any Jew, including her own family members, without hinting, directly, do malacha for me. And the Ramah adds, Mutta and the lady, or anybody who accepted Shabbos early, which a lady does when she lights candles without making a disqualifying statement, she can benefit from that malacha, and she doesn't have to what? Hint. She doesn't have to hint.
Also the goy, same thing.
Well, Mada Chayid, certainly a guy is Isel. The Chiddush is you don't have to look for a guy. That's the Chiddush. Mutta loymel Yisrael, source number 3. What?
You're only talking about the period before Shabbos actually.
Well, of course, if Shabbos comes in,
So what
You're stuck. Then you go to a goy.
Can a husband?
Shabbos comes in, then you have to hint to a non-Jew.
Can the
You got 18 minutes, 20 minutes.
Can the husband do Shabbos early and the wife takes it on regular time?
We just, my dear friend, Rabbi Yosef, source number 5. Hubby and wife can do their own thing. It's your thing, do what you want. Remember that song? Source number 5, Diesel, the great Moshe Feinstein.
The Hiddish is you can't order her.
The Hiddish is he can't order her. You would think, listen to me, I'm the boss, right? The great Moshe, even if he says meferish, that you are usher, you can't do malacha, he cannot usher her even if he makes a statement. Einoi klum. Boy, if that's not women's lib, I don't know what is, David. Huh? That's pretty amazing, right? So why is it, he explains to her when the lady gets upset, she calls him Saturday night, Rabbi, you're lighting in a car, riding after I lit. He explained to her it's not Marasayan. Because everybody knows that after the lady lights candles in New York, she still has, she's stuck, unless she made a statement. But the family members, anybody else, still has 18 minutes to what? So Rav Moshe Feinstein's Rebbetzin lit candles, and he drove in a car to shul, because he has the 18 minutes. His Rebbetzin wasn't upset, but a neighbor upstairs, Alte Yidden, was upset. So he didn't do it anymore. Even though his Rebbetzin didn't say, Moshe, was to the car, it's a Shabbos. She didn't say that, Yehuda, but the old lady in the building said it. So he stopped doing it. But it's not Marasayan, because everybody knows that you still have in New York 18 to 20 minutes, that gap, right, to do malacha. So again, if the lady lights candles, she doesn't say anything, Shabbos is on her. But she can make a disqualifying statement before lighting the candles, that even though I'm lighting the candles, I'm not accepting Shabbos yet, and then she can drive those 18 minutes anywhere, not touch the hotel, anywhere. She can do that if she makes that disqualifying statement. What do we see from here? Is it Shabbos or ain't it Shabbos? Shabbos is a world it's a parallel world. Who wrote that? The Matrix. Shabbos is me'en olam haba. Shabbos is a taste of what? Of life after life. Life after life. It exists, a parallel world to this world. The world of God's world. The unseen. It always exists. The question is when we step into it. David, when do you step into it? Friday afternoon, what time? Officially, it's sundown. But you can step in early. The world exists. It's a parallel world. Olam haba, olam hazeh. Why is it called olam haba? The Rambam asks, why is it called the world to come? It's a world that exists now. He says it's a world that comes to every person after death. Not that it doesn't exist now, it's a parallel world. But it's called Olam Haba, which means the world that comes to each person when what? When he leaves this world. I think it's called moving on up. It's a parallel world. What's reality, right? What's reality? We think this is reality. But what's 90, 100 years compared to eternity, right? Is 90, 100 years, we should be so lucky. Reality? But we came before, and we're just here a short time. So anyway, so husband and wife can do their own thing. Remember that song? It's your thing, do what you want. I'm dating myself. Great, so please take the source with you. Source number 5, the great Moshe Feinstein says clearly the husband accepts Shabbos early, or vice versa. One spouse cannot force the other to go with him, even though if he says, you will go with me. Even if he makes a verbal statement that it's Shabbos for you, it's not Shabbos for her, unless she agrees. Wow. Look how Judaism respects what? The rights of women. Great for Moshe Feinstein, the Gadol Hador, right, Yehuda? Okay, thank you very much.